Over the last couple of days, all we've seen from Democrats is mail-in voting must be the only option. We cannot do in-person voting because it's too dangerous. Well, I say that's a bunch of baloney because the Postal Service tells us you should not mail cash because it's not reliable. Why would you trust the Postal Service with your vote? Now, I myself do not have a very positive view of the Postal Service because they're not very reliable, even with stuff such as delivering packages. They always say, oh, your package was lost. And that's happened in multiple occasions, mind you, so I do not trust them with my vote. However, if you know people, most probably going to be Democrats, who are saying that mail-in voting is the only solution, we cannot do actual in-person voting because it's dangerous. Well, as much as I do not like Dr. Fauci, even though I do not believe his credibility, because again, I think he lost credibility a long time ago when it comes to COVID because he said protests are fine, but if you want to open your business, it's too dangerous. So I think he lost credibility. But even though, like I said, I do not take this guy seriously anymore, Democrats have been pointing to this guy for their answers. They've been saying if Trump listened to Dr. Fauci, we would have solved this issue by now. Well, to the Democrats who are watching this video and who are insisting on us listening to Dr. Fauci, let's see if they can follow their own logic, their own lapdog, right? Well, the lapdog known as Dr. Fauci says that you can vote in person. Yeah, he says there is no reason why we should vote by mail only. And again, the Democrats say listen to Dr. Fauci. So if we follow their logic, in that case, Dr. Fauci says in-person voting is okay, then will the Democrats follow suit? No, they won't. Because Nancy Pelosi right now is actually trying to push Congress to increase funding for the Postal Service. I'm sorry, but hey, you listen to Dr. Fauci. You told me to listen to Dr. Fauci. Why can't you listen to him? Oh, wait, that's right, because you only like Dr. Fauci when he's telling the public what you want him to tell the public. That's why. Your government lapdog apparently went against your wishes, so now you're ignoring him, even though you've been telling us for the duration of this pandemic, saying, you gotta listen to Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci's always right. Well, under your logic, he's right about in-person voting and saying that it's perfectly fine. But here's the thing. Let's say you're a Trump person. Let's say you're a person who hates Donald Trump and you vote for Joe Biden. Would you trust someone who walks up to you and say, "Hey, I'm gonna deliver your ballot to the voting booth," and they're wearing a MAGA hat? Would you trust that person with your ballot? I doubt it. You want to know why? Because he's probably gonna not deliver your vote. He's probably gonna take it and just throw it away. Well, the same goes the other way around. Let's say, in my case, I support Donald Trump, and someone came up to me wearing a Biden shirt and say, "Oh, we're conducting a service where we deliver ballots to the voting booths. Can I have your ballot so I can turn it in?" I'll look at them and say, "No, you cannot. I'm gonna take it down there myself. Thank you very much." Why? Because who knows what they're gonna do with it. So again, I ask you, the Democrats who are insisting on mail-in voting. If you voted for Joe Biden, would you trust someone wearing a MAGA hat telling you, "I will take your ballot to the voting booth"? I'm pretty sure you wouldn't. You wouldn't trust them. Well, the reason why I wouldn't trust the Postal Service with my ballot is because a major U.S. Postal Workers union has endorsed Biden for president. And you expect me to trust that union with handling my vote? Now, granted, the union isn't the one delivering the ballots, but there's postal workers in that union, postal workers who work for the United States Postal Service that support Joe Biden. You expect me to trust my ballot in the hands of a potential Biden supporter? Nah, man, not gonna happen. If by any chance on November 3rd, the only voting booth is in Washington, D.C., you bet your sweet butt that I'm gonna drive all the way to D.C., maybe even fly all the way to D.C., so I can turn in my ballot. Because there's no way in hell that I'm gonna trust a postal worker who's probably of this union that endorsed Biden. I'm not gonna trust them with my ballot. I'm sorry, man. Not gonna happen. Not going to happen. But like I said, if you're gonna be telling me that, oh, mail-in voting is the only solution, nah, man, I don't believe you. Because your lapdog, Dr. Fauci, says in-person voting is okay. So if you're by any chance a person who is saying mail-in voting is, if you're a person who says mail-in voting is not reliable, and you have a friend or a relative saying mail-in voting is the only solution, you just tell them Dr. Fauci says in-person voting is okay. So your argument is invalid. And then watch the reaction. You're probably going to get two reactions from them. Number one, they listen to you and they shut the hell up. Or they say, well, Dr. Fauci isn't always right. Then what is it? If he isn't always right, then he was wrong about the COVID stuff, right? But I can guarantee you they're going to say, well, he's right about that. Then how come he's not right in in-person voting? Like I said, I can go into Walmart and buy my stuff, but I can't go vote in person? Nah, man, spare me the nonsense. But like I said, I don't trust the U.S. Postal Service with my ballot. Specifically, when many of their workers, their union is endorsing Biden. I'm sorry, man. I'm voting for Trump. I'm voting for him. And I'm not going to trust a Postal Service worker with my ballot. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't do the same if the U.S. Postal Service endorsed Trump. You wouldn't do it, especially if you hate Trump. Would you really trust a Postal Service worker if they endorse Trump? Nah, man, I bet you wouldn't. So, I'm pretty sure you can understand my reasoning for that. But like I said, Democrats are doing everything in their power, to make Trump look like the bad guy and saying, oh, he's sabotaging the Postal Service because he's afraid he might lose. Nah, man. If the Democrats are really, if they're really that scared of losing to Trump, or if they really think they're going to win, they wouldn't mandate mail-in voting as the only option. They wouldn't. But a lot of these Democrats are saying mail-in voting is the only option that we have. In-person voting should not be allowed. I'm sorry, man. I do not believe it. I don't believe your nonsense. Your lapdog, Dr. Fauci, says it's perfectly okay. And now some of your postal workers, and now some of the postal workers are literally endorsing Biden. I'm sorry, man, but I'm not trusting them with my ballot. I'm not. But anyways, a little bit of the story. A major union representing U.S. postal workers has endorsed Democrat Joe Biden for president, and a move that comes as President Donald Trump has acknowledged starving the Postal Service of money in order to make it more difficult to vote by mail in November's election. The National Association of Letter Carriers, which represents 300,000 current and retired workers, said Thursday that Trump has long been hostile to the post office. His administration has called for an end to collective bargaining rights, proposed service cuts, and has eyed the possibility of privatizing the functions of the agency. Well, here's what happens under privatization. Under privatization, the Postal Service now has to compete with FedEx and Amazon and UPS. What happens then? Well, now you have an incentive to improve. Like I said, I don't like the Postal Service. That is why I like to order things through Amazon, because most of the time Amazon uses either UPS or FedEx. They hardly use the USPS. They don't. Right? They hardly use the United States Postal Service because they're not reliable. There's been times, actually no, there hasn't been times. There have been countless times when I order something through the mail and they either lose the package, it's delayed, or it's either both. It's delayed and they tell me it's lost. I'm sorry, man, but I can't trust them with a package. They expect me to trust them with my vote. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. But like I said, would you trust, for the Democrats out there, if you voted for Biden, would you trust a guy wearing a MAGA hat to deliver your ballot to the voting booth? You wouldn't. So why would I trust a postal worker who's probably part of this union that endorsed Biden? Why would I trust them with my ballot if I voted for Trump? I don't trust them. I'd rather take that to the voting booth myself. Thank you very much. But what do you guys think? Are you a person who supported voting by mail? Are you one of those conservatives who said voting by mail isn't that bad? Have you changed your mind after this video, after watching this video? What do you think of Dr. Fauci? Do you think that this guy is not going to be ignored by the Democrats? Because, I mean, he already is. But what about your friends? Do you have friends who say in-person voting is too dangerous, mail-in voting is the only answer? Well, I recommend you tell them Dr. Fauci said in-person voting is okay, and see what their reaction is. I guarantee you it's either going to be okay, they're going to shut up, or they're going to say, well, he can't always be right, he's wrong on this one. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you guys like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, share this video, and I will see you guys in a bit in regards to Twitter mistakenly, and I say mistakenly, suspending the account of the Babylon Bee. I'll see you guys in a bit.